everyone, and good evening. Welcome to the Linglobe channel. This time, we'll be bringing you content about preserving the world's languages for the future. Please enjoy it to the end.
Welcome to Lynn Glove Voice. So if you look back at standard Western history, the year 1879 stands out for a really, really wild reason.
Absolutely. The Battle of Isandlwana.
Yeah, exactly. You have this army armed mostly with like cowhide shields and short spears, and they just completely decimated the British Empire's modern artillery and rifle fire.
It's honestly one of the greatest tactical masterpieces in military history.
Yeah.
And it totally forces you to discard any assumptions you might have about, linear technological supremacy.
But it feels like an anomaly if you don't know the background. So today we've got this truly fascinating set of Lynn Glove material in front of us, and our mission is to reverse engineer how they did it.
Yeah, we're looking at the cultural and linguistic architecture of the Zulu people, how they weaponized their geography, how they built their families to withstand economic shocks. It's basically a masterclass in adaptability.
And it's not just history, right? This social architecture still operates today in modern boardrooms and digital spaces for you to see. So let's jump right into the blueprints. I'm bringing up slide 1, the Zulu people, language, culture, and legacy.
So just a quick overview here. The word isiZulu actually translates to heaven or weather. So they're known as the people of the heavens.
That is such an intense title.
Right. It establishes this cosmic scale for their identity right from the start.
Oh.
But to really grasp how they expanded that legacy, we have to look at the terrain.
Yeah, let's move fast and hit slide 2, geographic heartland. Because when I'm looking at this map in the Lynn Glove material, the deep red highlighted area is KwaZulu-Natal.
Yeah, KZN. It's bordered by the Indian Ocean and the Drakensberg Mountains.
But I'm noticing all these arrows pointing outward from that province, across national borders.
Well, that's because those political borders were drawn in European capitals, right? They completely failed to contain the actual lived realities of these people.
Yeah.
The cultural footprint bleeds heavily into Mozambique and Eswatini.
And there are these massive arrows pointing toward Gauteng province, specifically Johannesburg.
Yeah, that's the modern reality. Starting in the late 19th century, colonial taxes literally forced these self-sufficient farmers off their land and into the gold mines of Johannesburg.
Wow, so just massive economic migrations.
Exactly. So you get this dual existence where millions work in this hyper-capitalist concrete jungle, but their psychological and familial anchor is still hundreds of miles away in KZN.
That's got to take incredible resilience, which I guess was forged much earlier. Let's dig into slide 3, historical ascendance. The timeline here points to King Shaka in the early 1800s.
Right. Before Shaka, warfare was kind of like heavily armed diplomacy. You'd throw long spears from a distance, shout insults, and eventually someone conceded. Low casualties.
Sounds relatively polite, honestly, but the slide says Shaka united the clans like a brilliant startup CEO consolidating an entire industry.
That's actually a great analogy. He recognized the old system was terrible for state building. So he completely redesigned their military tactics with the bullhorn formation.
Wait, how did that work on the ground?
So 3 parts. The chest kins the enemy in place. The horns are these fast, highly conditioned runners who sprint out and encircle the enemy's flanks.
Cutting off their retreat entirely.
Exactly. And the loins stay behind as a massive reserve force. He also phased out the throwing spear for a short stabbing spear, the ikwa, and made them fight barefoot for speed.
So the goal was total annihilation instead of just throwing spears and going home. And that's the strategy that led to that famous 1879 Anglo-Zulu war victory at Isandlwana.
Yeah, they hid 20,000 men in a ravine and used that bullhorn formation to just collapse the British position. It was superior logistics and brilliant battlefield management.
The slide also notes that the monarchy eventually transitioned from that military empire into a deeply respected, symbolic cultural institution.
Right, the British did eventually win the war with overwhelming reinforcements, but the cultural gravity of the Zulu state was so strong that even today, the king holds unparalleled moral authority.
And a huge part of that cultural gravity has to be the language itself. Let's move to slide 4, linguistic roots. The origins of isiZulu. I'm looking at the current scale, over 12 million first language speakers.
It's the most widely understood language in South Africa. And if you look at the roots, it belongs to the Niger-Congo macro family.
Which is massive, right?
Huge. It encompasses most of sub-Saharan Africa. The story really starts with the ancient Bantu migrations, which was this multi-generational expansion south and east.
Bringing iron tools and agriculture with them, the slide says.
Exactly, which meant they could outcompete or absorb the hunter-gatherers they met. Eventually, the ancestors of the Zulu settled along the eastern coast, and their language branched off into the Nguni dialects.
But here is the craziest part of the Linglove slides to me. Let's look at slide 5, language evolution. The Khoisan influence. isiZulu has these incredible click consonants. But how did a Bantu language develop clicks?
It's a spectacular piece of linguistic paleontology, honestly. The slide points to their interaction with indigenous Khoisan hunter-gatherers.
But usually if an iron-wielding group takes over, they just bulldoze the local language, right? They don't adopt the phonetic structure.
Normally, yes. But here we have this cultural practice called flanifa. It was a strict system of respect where a married woman was strictly forbidden from speaking the names of her senior male in-laws.
Okay, wait. So if her father-in-law's name was Mansi, meaning water.
She couldn't say the word water.
Yeah.
She couldn't even use words that contained the root syllables of his name.
So she had to just invent new words.
Yeah, she had to find substitute sounds. And they found them by interacting with the Khoisan people. They started using Khoisan clicks to replace the forbidden syllables.
Oh, wow. So over generations, mothers are using these click-infused vocabularies with their kids, and it just bleeds into the mainstream language.
Exactly. They absorbed 3 primary clicks, the dental C, the palatal Q, and the lateral X. It completely expanded their phonetic range.
That is wild. The history of female social dynamics is literally embedded in how they speak. So how does this language actually function? Let's check out slide 6, linguistic structure and reach.
So because of those shared roots, isiZulu sits in the Nguni dialect continuum. An isiZulu speaker and an ex-Xhosa speaker can actually hold a complex conversation and understand each other perfectly.
The slide also talks about a grammar engine using prefixes. I kind of think of it like a coding framework. Because in English, we use suffixes, right? We add an "es" to the end for plural.
Right, but in Bantu languages, nouns are organized into classes using prefixes. And the prefix on the noun dictates the prefix for every single adjective and verb in the sentence.
So the whole sentence has to literally agree with the start of the word.
Yes. If you say, the big person falls, Ubuntu onkulu uyawa. But if it's plural, the prefix changes to aba. So it becomes Abantu abakulu bayawa.
Abantu abakulu bayawa. It rhymes. It physically alliterates across the sentence.
It does. And that creates this internal rhythm that carries immense cultural weight. It makes the language the ultimate acoustic vessel for preserving oral poetry and history. The grammar subconsciously guides your memory.
Which makes slide 7 the written word.
Evolution of Zulu text, so interesting to me. We're looking at a 19th century manuscript next to a modern smartphone. That is a wild leap.
Well, the written form was formalized by Christian missionaries who wanted to translate the Bible. But they only had the Latin alphabet.
And 26 Latin letters definitely do not cover clicks.
No, they don't. So the missionaries realized letters like C, Q, and X were somewhat redundant in English phonetics, and they just commandeered them to represent the clicks.
That's a brilliant hack, just repurposing the spare parts of the alphabet. Right. And as the slide notes, the people didn't just passively accept it. By the early 20th century, you had this vigorous independent press. They used written isiZulu to mobilize political consciousness and defend their autonomy.
And today it's one of South Africa's 11 official languages, thriving on digital platforms like Twitter. Because of that prefix stacking, you can say so much in just a few characters.
Exactly. The word Ngiyakuthanda translates to the entire sentence, I love you. It's tailor-made for smartphones.
Okay, let's look at some practical takeaways. Slide 8, the spoken word, essential expressions. This is a great cheat sheet if you're listening and ever travel there. The word for hello is sawubona.
Right, but sawubona isn't just a casual passing greeting. It literally translates to, I see you.
I see you. That definitely carries more weight than just saying hi.
It demands presence. You're acknowledging their humanity and their right to exist in that space. It's the linguistic manifestation of Ubuntu, the philosophy that I am because we are.
I love that. And for thank you, it's Ngiyabonga. I'm guessing gratitude is a big deal.
It's a structural requirement. Failing to express gratitude implies you think you're self-sufficient, which completely violates Ubuntu.
This slide also lists words for hospitality like kumnandi for delicious and kuyajabuliza for enjoyable.
Yeah, sharing food is a sacred act of bonding. Responding with kumnandi honors the host's sacrifice and validates the connection.
So that's the linguistic side. Let's look at how they project their identity visually. I'm moving to slide 9. Warrior heritage and symbolism. This completely surprised me. The Linglove material says there is no official ethnic flag.
They really don't need one. Their military regalia from the 19th century empire essentially serves as their flag.
Like the cowhide shield shown here, the text says specific black and white patterns identified different military regiments.
Yeah, imagine commanding 40,000 men without radios. Shaka bred cattle for specific hide colors so he could issue uniform shields. A veteran regiment might have pure white shields with a single black spot.
So a general could just look across the valley and read his troop deployment based on the cowhide patterns. That's incredibly organic.
Very organic and very effective. And today, those shields, along with the short stabbing spear, the assegai, are enduring emblems of cultural dignity.
You see people in tailored suits holding a traditional shield at weddings or political rallies.
Exactly. It's a visual statement saying, I operate in the global economy, but my loyalty traces back to the regiments that defeated the British.
There's another visual language that's equally intricate, though. Let's pull up slide 10, the visual language. The art of beadwork. I kind of view this as a wearable social media bio.
That is a perfect way to describe it. It's a complex, coded system of communication, traditionally driven by women.
The slide breaks it down. First, color choices convey specific emotions, like white is pure love, red is passion or anger. But then you have geometric patterns acting as the grammar.
Right. The foundation is the triangle. If a triangle points downwards, it represents an unmarried woman. Upwards is an unmarried man.
So if you join them together?
If you join them at the apex into an hourglass, it's a married man. Join them at the base to form a diamond, and it's a married woman.
Wow. So a young woman could weave a necklace with a white background, red accents, and an upward-pointing triangle, and hand it to a guy to literally hand him a readable document of her intentions.
Exactly. And anyone in the village can read his necklace and instantly know his relationship status and who he's tied to. It's breathtakingly sophisticated.
It really is. Okay, let's shift from static beadwork to something explosive. Slide 11. Rhythm of the heavens. Indlamu dance.
Look at this photo of a dancer suspended midair.
The Indlamu is just an unforgettable spectacle. It's a high-kicking dance that requires immense physical strength. Think martial arts combined with rhythmic gymnastics on hard earth.
The sheer athletic demand, throwing one leg straight up past your face and slamming it down to shake the dust, all while staying on beat.
It traces directly back to the military conditioning of the regiments. Striking the earth in perfect unison builds explosive power and communal timing.
But they aren't marching to war today. The slide calls this the pulse of the community. Right, today it's the ultimate expression of collective joy. At a wedding, the groom's party will perform it to show their vitality. And it's totally participatory. The audience cheers and ululates.
And the complex drumming and deep harmonic choral singing, right? It literally brings oral history to life in 3 dimensions.
Yes, the singing provides the historical narrative, while the stamping provides the physical punctuation.
Speaking of weddings and community, let's look at the economic engine behind all of this on slide 12, the social fabric, kinship, and agriculture. The slide highlights cattle as the ultimate symbol of wealth. But if you're a modern professional in Johannesburg with a stock portfolio, why do cows still matter so much?
Because you can't just think of cattle as livestock. Historically, they were the central bank, a religious artifact, and a marriage license combined.
The slide mentions marriage customs and lobola.
Right. In the West, marriage is a legal contract between 2 people. But in Zulu culture, it's a massive diplomatic treaty merging 2 kinship networks. The groom's family transfers cattle to the bride's family as a demonstration of profound respect.
So wait, if a young professional wants to get married today, is he literally driving a herd of cows through the suburbs?
Well, physical cows are still highly prized for ceremonial slaughter, but today, much of the lobola is paid via cash or bank transfer.
Okay, that makes sense.
But here's the brilliant part. The cash value is pegged to the current market rate of a live cow. You negotiate for 11 cows and then calculate the fiat equivalent.
The cow is literally the gold standard for their cultural economy. That is amazing.
And it supports strong kinship ties and local chieftaincy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It creates this interlocking web of mutual obligation that acts as an indigenous social safety net.
So we've covered economics, warfare, language. Let's look at how they play. Slide 13, cultural recreation. traditional games. Even their recreation serves a societal purpose.
Play is never purely frivolous here. It's the primary way to socialize youth.
Like Morabaraba, the tactical board game using pebbles as cows.
Yeah, chiefs used it to hone their tactical minds. It teaches forward thinking and strategic sacrifice. And then there's stick fighting, or Induku. The slide says it instills discipline and self-defense.
It's the direct lineage to their warrior heritage. Young boys spar with a defensive stick and a striking stick.
That sounds dangerous, honestly.
It can be, but it's strictly governed by rules. You can't hit from behind or if someone drops their stick. It teaches young men how to manage fear and respect an opponent.
Plus the precision bead tossing for kids and the high-energy dance battles, it's all rehearsing for adult responsibilities.
Exactly. Passing down the cultural operating system without them even realizing they're in a classroom.
Which brings us to the grand synthesis. Slide 14. Modern legacy. The Zulu today.
The Lin Glove imagery here has a striking contrast. Traditional dancers next to modern corporate professionals in Johannesburg.
And that juxtaposition is their defining truth. It's not an either proposition, it's a both hand.
They're driving modern industries, politics, business, arts. Like Amapiano and Gearcom music exporting to the globe. Right? They have seamlessly integrated into modern globalization. But, as the slide notes, they are also actively navigating the complexities of economic inequality.
Yeah, the legacy of colonial dispossession is still very real in the rural heartlands.
It is. But those economic challenges actually reinforce their reliance on traditional systems. When the modern state fails, the ancient safety net of the kinship network, overseen by the chief, is what catches people.
And they fiercely and successfully preserve their language and culture through it all.
Because they have profound confidence in their identity. They don't fear losing who they are when they walk into a corporate boardroom, because they know exactly who they are.
It's truly a staggering journey. I mean, the true legacy of the Zulu people isn't just in their historical military might. It's in their extraordinary adaptability, taking ancient cliques from the Khoisan, adopting the Latin alphabet, and carrying this deep, cattle-based kinship system right into the modern digital age. They're a living culture moving boldly into the future. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of the Lin Glove material.
Outsider. Yakakasior ta iprustet.
Thank you for watching until the end. We will continue to bring you many more languages from around the world. Please subscribe to our channel. See you next time on the Linglobe channel.